There had to be a point in time when all of this catastrophe began. Can you pinpoint when that was? Because you talked about credit card use, you talked overabundance, instantaneous gratification. When did this happen?
I think this was an incremental and not imperceptible process, but one that really went in cycles, and we thought these cycles could continue forever. But I think 2008 was an enormous wake-up call, not just to how intimately connected we are, but to how fragile the global economy is. When we see such amazing, institutions fall over, when we see, companies as iconic as the big three automakers come under fire and, almost disappear. And now when you consider, the rise as a function of population and sort of educated and skilled labor, the rise of BRIC nations and countries, such as China and Brazil, particularly here in the United States, I think there's a growing awareness as a function of the information you receive on the internet and the ability to share it through social media that we really need to rethink how we're running the engine of capitalism. So I think it's been going on through the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s, but this cyclical process reached a point of no return in 2008. And part of the reason I was inspired to write the book was when you see some of the business world returning to their old practices, when you look at the bonuses that are being paid to some corporate executives,
It's back there again.
when you see the same repetitive behavior, unless we assume greater responsibility for the change we want to see in the world, then we're really in trouble.
You talk about big brands, corporations, we go back to the regular person. Can they actually make a difference? Can the ones and twos actually have an impact on these gigantic multi-international brands?
The big Achilles heel of the entire thesis of We First is that if consumers do not care on an individual and collective basis, there's nothing we can do because there is no incentive for companies or brands to change their behavior. Currently, executives are rewarded on the basis of meeting analyst projections for the next quarter.
Okay.
And their stock options vest if they hit those numbers. So systemically, they're invested in a short-term mindset.
Got it.
Yet, we're trying to encourage them to take a longer point of view, where they drive profit, but they also build prosperity. The only way that we're going to do that is if consumers leverage their purchasing power to let brands know what they care about. And the reason you see such big brands as Walmart and Procter & Gamble and Unilever and so on reaching out and doing social good is not just because it's well intended, it's because it's well received. It allows them to build communities that then generate word of mouth advertising that ultimately translates to profit.